Part 3. Now this is where it gets complex, my lovelies.
Oh boy, here we go.
So I think this is what happened, I'm not sure. But Palpatine wanted to create a crisis on Naboo so that the naive young queen would propose a vote of no confidence for Chancellor Valorum.
No, Palpatine wants to put Valorum in a position where he looks incompetent. Getting Amidala to call for the vote of no confidence is a bonus born out of circumstance.
This would lead to Palpatine getting elected in his place, right? That's the plot, I think?
It's part of it.
So how does killing the Jedi or creating a communications blackout on the planet even get word back to the Senate that there is a crisis?
They already know there's a crisis. The planet of Naboo is currently being blockaded. Okay, I can tell I'm going to need to guide people through this. Let's say that the Jedi die and the invasion goes ahead without a hitch. What happens next? Palpatine will probably ask some pretty pointed questions on the Senate floor, right? Why is the Trade Federation still on Naboo? Where are the Chancellor's ambassadors? I had assurances that this dispute would be resolved so my planet could be free from this oppression, but now I haven't received any communications from the planet at all. What is happening? What are you doing to resolve this crisis, Chancellor? Stuff like that. His goal was to create a confrontation. No matter what happens, as long as the Trade Federation continue to be antagonistic, he can use that to his advantage.
At the end of the movie, Amidala goes back to the planet to solve the problem herself, because the Senate wanted to send an independent team to investigate whether or not the invasion was real.
Will you defer your motion to allow a commission to explore the validity of your accusations?
I guess the testimony of 2 Jedi Knights wasn't good enough.
Yeah, that's the point of the opening title crawl, is that the Senate is really bloated and doesn't function quickly. Plus, Palpatine is manipulating the Trade Federation and the bureaucrats to make Chancellor Valorum look like he can't handle this. Every party has a say in the Senate, right? And the Trade Federation have just accused the Queen and the Jedi of lying about an invasion on Naboo so that the Senate would be forced to sanction the Trade Federation further.
This is outrageous. I object to the Senator's statements.
And Valorum is forced to entertain both parties because it's a democracy. Each side has a right to be heard. So what is his solution?
The point is conceded. Will you defer your motion to allow a commission to explore the validity of your accusations?
He wants to verify the truth of the situation before making a decision. It's a perfectly reasonable position to take here, but because Palpatine knows what he'll do, he's preempted the Queen to make it look like Chancellor Valorum is corrupt and useless. It's incredibly well written. Every character is making intelligent decisions, but only Palpatine sees the entire picture, and he ends up with all the power because of it.
Those were the guys that Valorum trusted enough to settle the whole dispute in the first place? That don't make sense.
Yes, it does. They were there to settle things, and they failed. Then they reported an illegal invasion of the planet, which was fervently denied by the Trade Federation. An invasion is a declaration of war. Valorum isn't going to just want to rush to a conclusion here. He needs to make sure what the Jedi are telling him is true, which is a slow process, and risks lives on Naboo. Or he has to declare war on the Trade Federation. He can't just do that with only the word of the Jedi to justify it.
So anyways, when the guys told Palpatine that the Jedis were there, he should have said this.
Tell the Jedi that there will be no negotiations. Tell them that you plan to invade the planet next, and then send them back to Coruscant to inform the Senate.
That's a pretty good Palpatine. But he definitely shouldn't do that. Why would the Trade Federation tell them they plan to invade? That would instantly raise suspicion among the Jedi. Also, it requires talking to and manipulating the Jedi. And that isn't something either Gunray or any other Shadownarian is willing to do.
Are you brain dead? I'm not going in there with 2 Jedi.
Plus, it kind of ruins their plan because the Jedi can warn the Naboo with their starship, and then there will probably be significantly more resistance on the planet. Or the Queen will flee, which defeats the whole point of the invasion anyways. Plus, what happens if the Jedi are successful in their intimidation of the Trade Federation, and they disband the blockade and give up on Palpatine? That could be really dangerous for everyone involved on the Sith side. Killing the Jedi, or attempting to, is actually a much safer tactical move. It leaves way less ambiguity, and it forces the Republic to respond to a direct attack.
Instead, he tells them to do the exact opposite of what will help his plan.
Yeah, obviously did not think that through.
Like he wanted her to sign the treaty, right?
I want that treaty signed.
Kind of. He wants them to force her to sign it, so he can turn around to the Senate and make the case that the Federation invaded, killed Nabooians, forced the Queen to sign a treaty under duress because the Chancellor threatened them. Then he can use that to push his no-confidence vote. All of Palpatine's plans are not to get Amidala to Coruscant, they are to make Valorum look as inept as possible, even if it means killing his own queen and the people of his planet.
He seemed really intent on having her sign the treaty to make the invasion legal.
He did, because he wants the Trade Federation to believe that it is their top priority, not because it's the only way he can win.
So what if she was like a total coward and then actually signed the treaty? Like right away? Then the crisis would be over and there'd be no need for a vote of no confidence.
The blockade is still there, and your planet is now occupied by an enemy army. And that is crisis over for you. Palpatine is the senator of Naboo.
The chair recognizes the senator from the sovereign system of Naboo.
He knows the queen.
Queen Amidala is young and naive. You will find controlling her will not be difficult.
And he knows she won't sign it. And even if she does, he can use that to his advantage too.
See what I mean? This sounding like an 8-year-old wrote it?
Your video or this movie?
So anyways, it's time to kill off the Jedi. Oh good. How do they go about it? Well, they start pumping in an obvious deadly white gas into the room. This alerts them to danger. Well, actually, blowing up their ship does. I guess they should have pumped in the gas first, and after the Jedis were dead, then blow the ship up? Anyways, back to the gas. Hey idiots! Have you ever heard of carbon monoxide? It's odorless and colorless. Your wife won't even know what hit her. Oh, I mean Jedi.
How would they know the Jedi could sense their ship blowing up?
Have you ever encountered a Jedi Knight before, sir?
Well, no.
And I'm pretty sure the visuals of the gas are for the audience, so we know what's happening here. The Jedi are obviously already aware. Also, this was kind of an impromptu decision, not a planned assassination. They probably used what they had available on short notice.
Also, moments earlier, the Jedi willingly drank tea that was given to them, while they discussed how everything felt really fishy.
I sense an unusual amount of fear for something as trivial as this trade dispute.
Hey, you guys got any rat poison lying around? Put it in the tea! Put it in the tea! They'll drink it! Put the rat poison in the tea!
Why would they be able to sense the explosion of their ship and the poison gas, but not poisoned tea? Jedi can sense emotions. Malice is an emotion. And then, if they discover the tea is poisoned, you have two pissed off Jedi running around your ship and not in a locked room filled with poison gas.
So anyways, then the dioxazine starts filling up the room, and then...
Dioxazine.
Hey wait, how does Qui-Gon know what kind of gas it is before he smells it?
Probably the color and the way it was venting in the room. You just pointed it out.
Isn't that like a contradiction?
No.
Do you smell the deadly white gas? I guess it's a little too late. Maybe we just got a little sniff of it. Anyways, you know, this idea could work, because we see that the Jedi hold their breath, which implies there's some kind of danger of them running out of breath, right?
Sure, but whether or not this plan works is irrelevant. The Trade Federation are supposed to be in over their heads and not competent at waging war and assassinating Jedi Knights. The merchants, with a manufactured army, who have put themselves in a terrible position politically and strategically because they followed the orders of a Sith they didn't fully understand. If they fuck up the assassination, that's in line with their characters. The competent villain is Palpatine. These guys are his puppets, and they are specifically his puppets because they are easy to manipulate and easy to get rid of.
Maybe they could hold their breath for like 2 hours because they're Jedis. Well, no, that's not true, because later in the film we see they need to use them breathing things underwater for that short swim to the Gunga Sea World.
How long is the swim to Gunga Sea World again? Because in the movies, it's a montage cut. We have no idea how long they were swimming for. It could have been hours. They have a device that lets them breathe underwater, and they're swimming on a planet they've never been to a place they've never been to, in an ocean they've never seen. Even if it is just a short swim, why not use the device, right? But it's not a short swim. Look at the distance they have to cover in just this shot. You try to do that, only holding your breath. A short swim. You just made that up.
So anyways, it's like the Jedi know that the droids are going to open up the door in a very short time before they run out of breath.
Plinkett, what are you talking about? How long is it in the Star Wars universe between this shot and this shot? Do you have any idea? Do you have a Star Wars watch I don't know about that tells you the time in canon of the scene you're watching? What if they were holding their breath for like 4 hours? How would you know? You wouldn't, because the film wouldn't show us that. Because 4 hours of fog and meditation would be boring. We know the Jedi have a supernatural ability with the Force, and it allows them to perform physical feats of strength normal people would be incapable of. If that extends to the ability to hold their breath for a really long time, I think that's in line with the given rules of the original trilogy.
Because they don't immediately start trying to cut their way out.
Okay, but if they do start cutting their way out, the scene plays out the same way. And if they started to run out of breath, that's probably what they do. Having Obi-Wan cutting one side, Qui-Gon cutting the other, then Force pushing the cut out segment onto the pile of droids would be pretty cool. But what they end up doing is totally reasonable too. They cut down the cheap and unintelligent robots and pursue their target to the control center, because the Viceroy assumed they were dead after unspecified amount of time passed.
Which is what I'd be doing. I'd probably be screaming too, like a little girl. So what are they doing in there?
Preparing.
Then the dumbest line in the movie is said.
They must be dead by now. Destroy what's left of them.
If that's the dumbest line in the movie, then it's doing pretty damn good considering...
Saving what we love.
No, go away.
What does that mean? Hey asshole, how about you leave the door closed for like 4 hours?
Oh, hey! I cheated. I knew you'd say that. I lied to all of you.
And then if they try to cut through the door, start shooting them in the face.
Okay, so look what happens when Qui-Gon cuts through this initial door here. You can't shoot through that. And how do you know it wasn't 4 hours already? Seriously, this isn't real time. We are being shown the action, not the dead periods. Stop assuming things.
Then pump in more gas and keep pumping it in.
If the Jedi aren't breathing, what would more gas do?
Obviously, you've never suffocated a hooker that was trying to escape from your crawl space before. I recommend spraying Raid in there. You need to go with the fast kill, low irritant kind. It's in the blue bottle. It works the best. You'll need about 6 cans though. What was I talking about?
Killing hookers.
Oh, right. So they open the doors anyways.
Oh, you meant before.
And they let the Jedi out and attack them with completely useless robots.
Yes, Palpatine specifically created a threat from a large, annoying, but easy to dismantle faction to antagonize the Republic. They aren't supposed to be a serious threat. They are supposed to look intimidating and be annoying.
Just tell them to leave. And that you don't want to negotiate.
No!
Kill them immediately.
And then when their ship flies out of your space dock, shoot it with lasers.
The ship with the shields?
Captain, look!
That you're releasing past the blockade and into open space, where they can easily hyperspace away. Not the ship with no shields that isn't expecting you sitting idle in your hangar. The one that's fully operational, flying away from you, that can easily escape. Leaving 2 Jedi alive and traveling quickly back to tell everyone you tried to kill them before you can even get your invasion underway. The Trade Federation doesn't know about Palpatine's full plan. Letting the Jedi go would help him, fine, but it would negate the Federation as a faction, leaving Palpatine without an active threat that allows him to take full control of the Republic.
Also, we need to consider the fact that killing 2 Jedi that were sent there as peaceful ambassadors would be a pretty heinous crime in the eyes of the Galactic Senate, an organization that runs everything, including the space taxes.
Yeah, we do need to consider that. That might cause a war.
I mean, you could just claim that they never got there.
I know nothing of any ambassadors.
I have assurances from the Chancellor. His ambassadors did arrive.
But now you've got the burned wreckage of their ship inside your horribly burned docking bay.
Look at that, out there. See that? That's space. You just vent the wreckage into fucking space. It's gone forever. No one will ever find it. Then you clean the floors. Job's done.
Number 4. Who's doing what? Where? Why? Why are the Shatnerians taking orders from this mystery hologram again?
It's not a mystery hologram. It's Palpatine. Shit. Look, we can do this with any movie, right? We don't know specifically why the Shatnerians are in this specific position listening to the Sith Lord at this exact moment, right? But in exactly the same way, at the start of episode 4, we don't really understand what's happened to get us to this point, right? We don't understand where the plans came from. We don't understand how the rebels stole them. We just understand that they did steal them. That's the stakes it's given us. Episode 1 has set us up with the stakes that Palpatine has manipulated these Shattenarians into an untenable position where they have essentially waged war against the Republic, and they are now terrified about the consequences.
What did he promise them that would be so worth risking their entire organization for?
Considering the title crawl, probably money, or control over all galactic trade in the Republic. Something to that effect. The Trade Federation's motives are simple. They are greedy and the Republic is cutting into their profits.
The location of the Fountain of Youth? A planet made of gold? Corrective surgery for this woman's face? How about a night in Megan's foxhole?
That's a fucking blast from the past right there.
I'd like to introduce the first segment ever of Megan Foxwatch.
Good times.
Seriously, what was it? Oh, we're never told, are we?
No, we are not directly told. We don't really need to be, though, because the film does a good job establishing each faction's position politically and tactically. The Trade Federation have put themselves in a precarious position, working with Palpatine. Naboo is struggling to survive the blockade. The Senate is large and ineffectual, and Palpatine is pulling the strings on both sides to give himself power.
Generally speaking, it's easy to get a handful of insane people to follow you on some kind of legal or crazy scheme. But when you're talking about a huge organization that's run with military efficiency... then they're probably going to want something in return for the use of 30 of their ships and risking everything. Darth Sidious can't really promise them future political favors.
Why not?
Because it would give away who he is.
How? They know he has political influence already.
My lord, is that legal?
I will make it legal.
Why would offering political favors reveal his identity? He could just say, oh, I control a guy in the thing. He doesn't have to be the guy.
When they got arrested at the end, they could just say, it was like a hologram in a cloak. He made us do it. In fact, he looks like Palpatine. And he sounds like him, too. We got the recordings of the hologram. You want to look at him? I find it hard to believe that these guys never started pointing fingers after they got caught.
But they never got caught. They died. Remember? In this movie, they get arrested, but it's clear from the end of 3 that they weren't prosecuted.
Number 5. I can't put enough quotation marks around the word story, so I won't try.
Sir, they've gone up the ventilation shaft.
How do you know that?
They were on camera.
I said, how do you know that?
It was the cameras.
Answer me, thing in the mouth face.
Always doing a thing.
What is that anyways? What, you smoke too much? What's wrong with your face? Anyways, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, they end up in the hangar bay somehow, where the droid armies are being staged for an invasion. Why don't the Jedis just start fighting all of them?
Because they aren't suicidal? What the fuck?
Then steal a ship and head back to Coruscant to tell the Galactic Senate what's going on. It's not so crazy, because later in the film they attempt to run the blockade with one ship and they make it through. The fact that they even tried that makes this a possible option.
What? They ran the blockade after specifically looking for and acquiring a ship that could run the blockade.
Do you have transport?
In the main hangar, this way.
So they should fight thousands of droids alone, just the 2 of them. What the fuck?
What is wrong with your face? But instead, Qui-Gon in all his wisdom thinks it's a better idea to go down with the army to, quote, warn the Naboo.
We've got to warn the Naboo and contact Chancellor Valorum.
Hey, genius. If you're going down with the army, don't you think it's a little too late to warn them about the army?
They aren't going there to warn them about the army. They're going there to warn them about the Viceroy trying to assassinate them. Qui-Gon thinks they might do the same to Amidala.
Thank you, Ambassador. But my place is with my people.
It will kill you if you stay.
And what the fuck are the Naboo gonna do anyways?
Run away. Live. Try to get help.
They don't even have a real army, just volunteers.
Our security volunteers will be no match against the battle-hardened Federation army.
Precisely. It's time to run.
So the droid army just rolls in, unchallenged as expected. Just like the Nazis into France in a little historical event you might have heard of. What was it called? The French Revolution.
See, guys, it's funny because he did the same joke. He just did it again.
Anyways, so then for no reason they decide to stow away on different ships.
Let's split up. Stow aboard separate ships and meet down on the planet.
Is this guy a fucking retard?
Oh.
Maybe that's why they call him Qui-Gon Jinn. Because he's always drinking gin. This is a minor point, but what would going down on the planet on separate ships accomplish?
A lot, actually. So first, if one of them gets lucky enough, they will land closer to the capital, and they can get there faster. Second, if one of them gets caught, it means they still have another person who can accomplish the mission. Third, it makes them smaller, harder to locate targets because they aren't moving around together. Fourth, if they end up landing near each other, they can get a better understanding of how the Trade Federation army is moving and where they can go to avoid detection. There are probably more benefits, I'm sure, but that's good enough to start with, I think.
Let's think about this. Number 1, increase the chances of getting caught by 100%.
What? How? You effectively doubled the size of your operation and cut the group working on it in half. Haven't you lowered the chances of detection by 50% and reduced the chance of the mission failing if someone does get caught by another 50%? It's fine, I'm sure he'll explain it.
2.
No.
Have no one else to help you if you get caught and get into a fight with robots.
Yeah, but if you get into a fight, you're dead or captured anyway. 2 Jedi aren't going to take on an army. At least this way, if one of you does get caught, one is still active.
3. Increase the possibility of getting separated by hundreds, if not thousands of miles by not knowing where the other craft is going to land on the planet.
Yeah, maybe one of them gets lucky and lands near the capital so he can go and tell the Queen and make sure she's alive. They're both pointed in that direction anyway. They will eventually find each other. Plus, they're Force sensitive. They have the ability to find each other in the Force. See, Luke does it here with Vader. It's a thing Jedi do.
But thankfully, they both aren't discovered and they meet up in the same spot in the woods.
No, not thankfully. I mean, yeah, thankfully they weren't discovered. But being far from Thule is a problem for both of them. They would have much preferred to land near the capital.
Then, although the reason for them going down to the planet was to warn the Naboo about the army, they decide to follow a cartoon rabbit underwater. Why? Why not just keep moving towards the Naboo city?
Did you forget the army? They were just running from it.
Hey, Ginny, I thought you went down there to warn the Naboo. How is this gonna accomplish that?
They can't warn anyone if they're dead.
What was your plan from the beginning when you got down there?
To warn the Naboo. They have to avoid the army still. Jar Jar offers them a way to avoid detection. It's safe and it's fast.
Did you plan to find a magical underwater craft that would go through the planet's core?
No, that was entirely unexpected.
Or did you just plan to run along the surface?
While avoiding the droid army as well as they could, or possibly stealing some sort of speeder or transport. Yeah, that was probably the plan.
What's wrong with your face? This is the first point they should have ditched Jar Jar.
Why? He gave them an incredible offer of safe and speedy transport. Why would they ditch him?
This is also the point when the movie starts to officially fall apart.
It does?
This is the moment when the Star Wars saga is now damaged totally beyond repair.
No, I think it was here.
The lapses in common sense and logic begin to compound on the movie, and now it is broken.
How? Nobody has done anything illogical yet. Everything we've seen has been a momentary reaction to a high-stress situation, and every character seems to be reacting in a way that is both in character and completely logical, which is impressive given the number of new characters we've only just been introduced to. Each one of them has clearly defined personalities, goals, strengths, and weaknesses. Each of them acts according to those goals and strengths, and each of them blunders according to their weaknesses. Qui-Gon is competent, but arrogant, and senses something unusual in the Trade Federation, but isn't careful about approaching the negotiations, which leads to his ship being destroyed, an assassination attempt on himself and his Padawan, and them sneaking aboard an enemy ship to escape. They land on the planet, attempt to evade the army, and meet a Gungan who offers them a chance at safe passage underwater, where there are no droids, so they follow him. Palpatine recognizes an opportunity to start a serious conflict that reflects badly on Valorum, and attempts to instigate it using the Trade Federation as assassins. Viceroy Gunray feels incredibly pressured by the presence of 2 super beings on his ship, sent by the Republic to force him into a settlement. So out of fear of being arrested by the Jedi and forced to face the wrath of the Republic, he listens to Palpatine and tries to execute the ambassadors, then cover up their deaths to the Queen and the Republic, while staging an invasion on the planet he is blockading. but his lack of understanding of the Jedi and their capabilities, and his lack of military or assassination experience, leads to them escaping. Jar Jar Binks almost dies running from the droid army, but is saved by Qui-Gon and feels he owes him a debt, so he offers him a chance at safe passage through Gunga SeaWorld, even if it means breaking his banishment. Obi-Wan listens to his master's instructions. Everyone so far has made perfectly rational decisions, motivated by circumstance and their characters. The movie isn't broken at all. In fact, it's pretty damn good so far. We've got an established universe, conflict without an easy resolution, and a journey for our heroes to undertake, and well-established characters with no overt dialogue. It's actually pretty impressive, all things considered.
I could end this review here.
Please do.
But I'm really just getting started.
Oh, man.
I do have to go to traffic court soon, though. I accidentally ran over a Korean family with my car.
Alright, folks, and that's the end of part 3. It's been another wonderful journey. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
What is wrong with your face?